So, and probably before I start, I would like to thank Sarawak Digital, SMA, SIC, SDAC, and iCube Innovation Center for inviting me to this session. And I think this is the first time I'm actually engaging a Sarawak audience in terms of doing this session. And I think this is a good start. And for your information, the drone ecosystem that we've been building for the past 2 years throughout Malaysia, it is something that we would like to get everyone to be involved in. So it's not just something that is for Klang Valley or something that is only relevant in Johor or in Sabah. It's relevant for everyone in Malaysia and everyone in the region and globally as well. And I will tell you in a bit why and how you can also play your part in building this ecosystem, or if you are interested to build your own products, services, or solutions in this area, probably we can help you start somewhere. All right. So before I go further, so I think 2 years ago in 2019, we initiated the first drone conference in Malaysia called the MyronX. It was initiated together with MDAC, Futurize, and Magic, and a few other government agencies at the time. And we were supported by a lot of local drone industry players and also global drone companies. So as you can see here, so I'm taking this from Drone Fund, a Japan Drone Fund. So if you can see down there, so they shared this very nice pictures portraying, what is currently happening and what will happen in the future in terms of drone applications. All right. So this is what they imagine, So I'm very inspired. This is why I keep doing what I do at this moment, and at the same time, I try to bring in more people who are as enthusiastic as me, try to build this ecosystem bigger, because no one can do this alone. And this drone industry cuts across various sectors, various applications, various industries, from delivery, from that, as you can see there, there's drone cars flying there. So there's a lot of applications out there. And as shared by Geoffrey, if I'm not mistaken, about how drones can serve in terms of applications during emergency situations, for example. So these are some of the illustrations that I would like to share, so that you can see in the future, that it's not just what we imagine now, but it's something probably a bit much more bigger applications, much more bigger usage of drones and technology that is revolving around drones that people can do in the future. So I would like to inspire you to actually imagine things that haven't been thought of yet. If you have those ideas, come and share with us. We would like to help you make those ideas a reality. Okay? All right, so a little bit about what we do in DRZ Iskandar. So for the past few years, when we start to build this drone ecosystem community in Malaysia, we realized that there are already similar concepts of drone test site being built globally. So one of the areas that we looked at was in Japan. They have this drone and robotics city in Fukushima, and that was what inspired us to also build something similar in Malaysia, because there isn't any at that point of time. So I think back in 2019, in Cyberjaya, Futurize announced a location in Cyberjaya where people can come and fly their drones, and they they would require to get permission from the landowner, which is Cyberview at the time in Cyberjaya. And I think Polar Drone is also in Futurize in Cyberjaya at the moment, and that is where they test their drones on a daily basis, I assume. So and I think to ensure people in Malaysia have access to test their drone applications or their drone R&D products. So we need to build more of this kind of drone test sites around Malaysia. And it's because, flying a drone on shared airspace is something that is really, really risky because, the airspace belongs to commercial airlines or the military operations. So you have to know where you fly, and you have to get permission and certain permits if you are doing it commercially to ensure that you do not interfere with existing or current ongoing operations, aviation operations around your area. So which is why, DRZ Iskandar, what we are trying to build here is to ensure that there is a safe place for enthusiasts, for drone companies, for academicians to test their drones within a safe environment. So this is something that we are building now in Johor. So I think if you are interested, you can get in touch with Malcolm to see how you can build something similar in Sarawak as well. Or if you do have something now and you would like to test it in our space, come and talk to me, and we will see how we can help you catalyze, start your products, develop your products until MVP. Once it's ready for application, commercialization, you can bring it back and apply it in Sarawak, in the industries within Sarawak as well. Okay, so for your information as well, this program called NTIS, National Technology Innovation Sandbox. So DRZ Iskandar is part of this program initiated by MOSTI and MAGIC and supported by MTDC as well as the funding agency. So within DRZ Iskandar at the moment, these are the case studies and proof of concepts that we are currently doing. For example, we have a 25 acres VLOS drone area, and also a 3,000 acre beyond visual line of sight area. And we are bringing in companies like VStream, Garuda Robotics, and aside from just drones, we are also bringing in robotics, autonomous vehicle companies to test their solutions in our location. So I think this is something that Malaysia now is really pushing towards too, because we want to see innovations that is being developed by local companies, because eventually we want to create jobs, within the products or solutions that local companies are developing as well. So if you are already developing something related to see here are some of the case studies that we are sharing. If you have solutions related to security, palm oil agriculture applications, or security and surveillance, or emergency response, you let us know, and this is something that probably we can further discuss with you to see how this can be applied to some of the corporations or the agencies around our locations as well. All right. So I would like to share with you. So these are some of the numbers that we've gathered for the past few years, and this is why I think Malaysia right now, a lot of agencies, we have MDEC, MOSTI, MAGIC, Futurize, MTDC, and a lot of other agencies that is now focusing on developing the drone industry. But in Malaysia at the moment, drone industry is not a specific industry per se. Because I think in general, drone industry falls under the category of aviation. Because, if you have an equipment that flies above the ground, it will automatically classify itself as an aircraft. So which is why under the Civil Aviation Authority guidelines, drone is also known as an unmanned aircraft system. So which is why there are a lot of regulations that you will need to adhere to, because we need to ensure, whoever operates, be it enthusiast or be it a commercial player, we need to ensure that we take care of the safety of our surrounding and ourselves as well, and also the environment around us, so that we do not create an environment where people see that drone is a threat to them. So that would affect the industry as a whole, because globally this is something that has grown by leaps and bounds, and we've worked together with a company called Drone Industry Insight. So they are a drone market research company, and then they've give us this number where it is expected, the Asia drone market itself is going to generate $17.9 billion in revenue by 2025. And Malaysia alone is ranked third in drone readiness index in ASEAN context, and we have the biggest market size in ASEAN. So the number that they are expected is Malaysia could generate up to 384 million in revenue by 2025, looking at how the industry now is highly evolving. All right. And for your information, now Malaysia in 2020, so this number we got it from the Civil Aviation Authority. I think we had a discussion with them sometime early this year. 66,000 drones have been registered by CM in Malaysia alone. So you imagine 66,000 drones flying around, around your area, around my area. So it's really it's going to bring a huge impact. And I think this is why the Civil Aviation Authority and the industry and everyone around the ecosystem needs to work together, because we want to position Malaysia as a drone tech hub that can help contribute to the nation's economic growth, create job opportunities, and create digital adoption across industries that is relevant to us in Malaysia. All right. So I'm going to share with you this slide. I used this slide back in 2019 to show to our stakeholders. When I used to work for a government agency before, we are trying to justify why Malaysia needs to push for drone industry development holistically. Because in 2019, this is how the global drone network looks like. So a lot of the drone companies that is visible is actually coming from the Europe, the US, and most of them are from China, Japan. And there's only like a handful of companies recognized in 2019 that is based in Southeast Asia. But 2 years down the road, we gathered information, we talked to people, and we realized that there are a whole lot more drone companies within our country itself and around the region. And just for your information, this doesn't really represent the whole probably 200, 300 drone industry players out there. These specific companies that we have engaged are the ones that actually develops products, that have specific services and solutions that serve the industry that we were concerned with for the past 2 years. All right. So as you can see here, so we have engaged all these people, the government agencies, the academic and training institutions, the ecosystem support partners, and all of these drone companies, from Aerodyne, Ofotech, Polar Drone, Mata Aerotech, Meraki. So they serve various industries in Malaysia. And we even have companies that actually develops and manufactures drone-related products or even assemble it themselves. For example, like Polar Drone, they build their own drone, or they do assemble, they have their own software. And I think that is really great. And I think this is what we need to support as well in terms of drone industry in Malaysia. I think Polar Drone now, probably aside from working together with DJI, they are also a competitor, a global competitor for DJI in terms of providing drone product in the agriculture and plantation sector. So that is huge, and I think if companies like Polar Drone, if how can do it, and I know personally JX, who is really passionate in this, and I think this is what we want to instill in our SMEs, in our startups, in our students, you can do this as well. But for us to help you cut short that development process, come and get in touch with us. We will help you develop your products faster. We will help you engage. What you can do within this industry at the moment, because there's a lot of demands within certain sector, which I'm going to share later. And I think if you have interest to dive into the industry, I think you can do so, but you have to work and collaborate with existing industry players out there, so that they could teach you, how to do certain things, how to apply certain permits, what kind of trainings that you need to go to, what kind of funding that you would require. And if you are building something and you want to work together with universities, there's all these universities have a very specific faculty or team that has very specific focus on developing drone related products and technology. So again, just for your information, I think in Malaysia, to fly a drone commercially, there are a few regulators out there that you need to engage with. So that is what we, private and the government and the public sector are working together to see how we can further improve our existing processes, to see how we can help drone industry players to be able to work better and to serve their clients better and faster as well. So things are really moving very fast at the moment. And I think Civil Aviation Authority, I think although there are some quarters saying that the restrictions are there, it's very difficult. It takes some time for them to get certain approvals. But I think the Civil Aviation Authority team that are working together with us are really, really progressive. I think, but they need to ensure, because they do not just represent the drone industry players in Malaysia. They have to ensure, because they have to take care of the general aviation, the military aviation that is operating in Malaysia. So to ensure that nothing bad happens, we have to work with the regulators to ensure that, eventually once we found out a good system, probably future technology like the unmanned traffic management system comes online in our country, probably then it will be easier for us to ensure that all the drones operating in Malaysia are within a safe operating environment. All right. So I will briefly share with you what are the main industries that is affected or involved in the drone industry in Malaysia. So as you can see here, so the first three sectors that are quite huge in adopting drones are actually the energy, utility, oil and gas, and construction and infrastructure. And you have companies like Aerodyne, Ofotech, and Archie Drone, who are serving various clients in Malaysia, regionally, as well as globally. I'm not sure if you guys heard about Aerodyne before. So Aerodyne is like one of the biggest, probably the number one biggest drone company in the world at this moment, drone services company. And they are operating, their HQ is in Cyberjaya, and they have operations all over Malaysia. And they even announced recently that they've raised over 30 over million US dollars, valued at over 120 million US dollars. And I think they are now going to expand more than just what they do in the energy utility sector. And for your information, the Malaysia market size is one of the biggest. Again, and when we have GLCs like Petronas, TNB, TM, Prasarana, KTMB. So these are, you can imagine. So if in Sarawak or in Sabah or wherever you are, so this, if you know this kind of industries, there is a potential. If they're not using it already, these are the kind of services that you can provide to them. So I think if you have already started, or if you would like to start, I would like you to suggest, you get in touch with us. We can give you some advice, we can consult you and get you to get in touch with some of the industry players, because most of them are really open, to collaborate, to help and get the industry to become bigger, especially in Malaysia. So another sector that is going to be really huge and is already huge in Malaysia is actually in agriculture and plantation. So sort of Polar Drone, Mata Aerotech, Braintree Technology, Meraki. So Malaysia, in general have over 600,000 hectares of paddy. And for palm oil plantation, 5.2 million hectares. And I think at this moment, probably the adoption rate is less than 5% for both. So that's even though at this moment, Malaysia has the highest operations in both paddy and palm oil plantation industry around the region, but the percentage of adoption in general is still relatively small, which means we need more companies, we need more operators, we need more drone pilots within the drone agriculture sector to be able to serve the demand. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, even Aerodyne mentioned, I think in our, we did a session together with Aerodyne a few months back. They are planning to hire at least 1,000 drone operators within the next 2 years to be able to serve all the plantation and agriculture paddy fields all over Malaysia, which clients are already engaging them with. I think Polar Drone is also probably hiring a lot of drone pilots at the moment. So once they go to Sarawak, Sabah, you will have that opportunity to work together with companies like Polar Drone, Meraki, who are now working together with all these GLCs. So the GLCs alone, Felda, Felcra, Saimdabi, they are just the tip of the iceberg, because we also have the smallholder plantation owners, the paddy farmers. If you can see, if you look in Facebook at the moment, if you type drone in agriculture, there's a lot of Facebook pages, communities, groups. We can see paddy farmers now buying drone spraying by themselves, buying directly from the manufacturer, assembling it, spraying their own paddy fields. But again, I have to say, it's a good. I think it's good that people are starting to realize, the adoption of technology helps, in certain ways to increase productivity, lowers the risk of health. But again, I think we need to also ensure that we also balance the aspect of safety and regulation as well. So I think I'm all for supporting, the adoption of drones within all the sectors, but because the operations do fall under certain jurisdiction and regulation of certain agencies and regulators in Malaysia. So I think, in a way, within the next few months, within the next 1 or 2 years, we will reach a place where all of this will come together. But at this moment, I think if you do want to learn, if you do want to get involved in this, do get in touch with professionals like Polar Drone, so that they would be able to advise you how you can do this professionally. Okay? Right, let me see. Okay, just for your information as well, I cut this part out, so there is actually some numbers here, if I can share that with you, but in a public forum, because this is something that we work together with drone industry inside, so I can't share you some numbers here. But basically, it shows that there is still a lot of drone industry applications across sectors that has not yet been done. So if you think of all this industrial sector, from arts, entertainment, to transportation and warehousing, and all these applications method, mapping, monitoring, surveying, inspection, all the way to advertising. So this is the drone industry ecosystem, drone economy that we are talking about. Because drone is just a tool. So however creative you are, in whatever industry you're in, there would be a way that drone would be able to bring in value, something that people might not even think of at this point of time. So if you are a student, probably trying to figure out what you want to do for your final year project, probably you can see. So if you are in communication sector, information, electrical, electronics, telecommunication. For example, I'm just giving an example here. So for a drone to be able to fly further and for a drone to be able to fly longer, so what are the two main technology that you can further develop? It would be the battery and also the telecommunication devices. So now we have, 5G, nano battery, battery, hybrid battery, hydrogen. So these are the kind of innovation that we want to develop in Malaysia, so that we will be able to grow and build the industry, not just building a whole drone itself. If you can build a battery for a drone to fly longer, then we will be able to sell your batteries to all the global drone manufacturers. If you are able to develop a telecommunication devices that will be able to help a drone fly safely within a confined area, or probably can help the drone to fly further, but that is something that we will be able to help you sell that technology to drone manufacturers globally. So I think we need to open up our minds to see how big of a potential it is that this drone industry and economy can provide to us as a whole. All right. So I'm gonna share this deck with everyone later. So probably if you miss this, I'm gonna share this with Malcolm so that Malcolm can share it as well. Again, I'm gonna share this. So we did this study together with MDEC back in 2019 to show to people that the drone tech career pathway is beyond the engineering, the technology portion of the industry. We have now drone covering all aspects of industry, as I mentioned earlier, and in terms of operations as well, in terms of management, in terms of engineering, data capture, software development, business, creative, and as mentioned by our speaker earlier, you have your military search and rescue applications. So whoever you are, whatever for those students, whatever degree that you are in, so if you have interest to go into the drone industry, there are positions, there are potential for you to work together with existing drone companies and fill in this void. And you could also create your own company to serve certain areas within this sector. All right. So I can talk a lot specific on this slide, but I'm not going to do that. Probably, Malcolm, we can work together with certain universities in Sarawak. Probably we can bring in some drone companies that probably Polar Drone and others can help also develop a training program for the community in Sarawak as well. So I'm just going to go briefly through this because I think in the earlier session, some of you asked, what are the UAS or drone regulation in Malaysia. I'm just going to leave it here, and probably you can also check out a Civil Aviation Authority website. So there are certain rules and regulations, but for the recreational players, I think at this moment, you can fly your drones without permits, but do ensure that you abide by this current US regulation. But your drones must be below 20 kilos. When it goes above, so it will fall under a different category. And for those commercial drone operators, you will need to have a proper drone permit and license for you to operate your service, and you will also still need to abide by the current US regulations here. All right. So again, I want also to share CAM is very progressive at this moment, which is why we are also working together with them under DRZ Iskandar, where DRZ Iskandar is also one of the sandbox where we are trying to help the industry players to test their drones within a safe environment. And of course, again, there's a lot of requirements there, just to ensure that all the drone operations are done safely in a safe environment, and nothing bad will occur during the operations. There's a lot of trainings that needs to be done. There's a lot of risk assessment. But I think, again, in whatever industry itself, safety and health is very, very important. So even if you are flying recreationally, I think if you can see, there's a lot of drone racing videos we've seen earlier. So I think make sure that you are aware of your environment. If you see that there are people there, you make sure that they are aware of what you guys are doing. You put up some signs and ensure that you have teams around the area as well to ensure that no one is around your operational area. So that the drone would fall on people's head and it becomes a national issue. So and then it would affect everyone if that happens. Okay. And then there's a lot of there's a few organizations out there like Mudas, for example, and you can join communities around Sarawak as well. I think there are a few groups in Sarawak as well that is doing the awareness. So probably get in touch with them, learn before you actually fly. So I think this is one of my last slide. Let me check if I still have time. So yeah. Sorry. So can you see my slide? Hello? I think I got cut off just now. Sorry. Would you mind telling me where did I stop just now? Is this it? All right. So sorry. I had a problem with my connection just now. So just for your information, I think this is one of my last slides. We are doing this drone and robotics conference on the 27th and 28th of July. So if you have interest to listen to some of the great speakers that we are bringing in, we will be sharing about how Malaysia now is compared to our global and regional counterparts in terms of developing our drone and robotics ecosystem. And also there will be a sharing on how agri-drone tech adoption in ASEAN is. So we will have JX, who is actually CEO of Polar Drone, to join us as well. And as a highlight, I think probably this is one of the sessions that I think some of you should join, because we're going to have Aerodyne together with Volocopter and Drone Industry Insight to share with us how and where the drone industry is at this point of time, and what's it gonna be within the next 2-3 years, because globally I think later if I can share you my LinkedIn profile. I'm sharing a lot of drone industry updates globally. In 2020 alone, I think almost $2 billion is invested in companies related to drones and mobility. And I think this year, despite of the pandemic, I think the adoption of drone is even more than before. And I think even Polar Drone is experiencing that, because especially in the plantation sector in Malaysia, we are using a lot of foreign laborers to actually do the spraying and collect the produce. But with drones, the plantation owners can now manage their resources, because now the workers can focus on collecting the produce, while drones will help do the pesticide spraying, for example. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. I'm telling you, there's a lot more that is going to come, a lot more technology that is going to be developed in terms of drones, robotics applications within sectors like plantation. And I think for you in Sarawak, I think plantation is quite huge as well. It's a huge industry in Sarawak. So probably this is something that probably IQ, together with your local drone community and support by any government agencies, this is something that you guys can work together with as well. Okay. And for your information as well, to show to you that the drone industry is something that is not something new, and it's not something that people are probably not aware of. So we did a drone competition last year, and we are doing another one this year from June until December. And at this moment, and this is open for public schools students in Malaysia from primary to secondary, and we got over 3,400 students joining us for this virtual competition and training related to drones, programming. And can you imagine, half of the students have actually flown a drone before. So I think it's quite a shock to us as well. So now that even school students, secondary school students have been exposed to the technology. Probably within a few years. I'm quite old now. I don't know how to program a drone, but I think those who have learned these things since school days, probably they are the ones who's going to come up with innovative solutions related to drones and robotics. And probably this is something that I would like to see, probably coming in from students coming in from Sarawak and Sabah and all over Malaysia as well. And if you are interested in this, get in touch with us. Probably we can also try to develop something similar within your community as well. So I'm gonna browse through a few slides that I've shared, because I think I wouldn't do justice to some of the companies that is currently really been supporting us and also developing our drone ecosystem in Malaysia. So I think company like Aerodyne, the founder Kamarul, the development of the company like Aerodyne is really monumental, and it really gives an impact, putting Malaysia into the map to show that if a drone company like Aerodyne can potentially be a unicorn one day, this would set a path to other companies that is within the same industry. So if Aerodyne can do it, so future VCs or future investors will now come to Malaysia to find out the future companies like Aerodyne, or future companies like Polar Drone, or future companies like Ofotech, or Meraki, or Asia Drone, or Mata Aerotech, or V-Stream, Braintree Technology. So these are companies that have raised money, that have served the industry, that have developed applications, solutions. And I think just to share with you, if these companies, if these people can do it, and I think there is an opportunity for you to either work together within your community, or for you to collaborate with these existing companies, work together with them, get in touch with them, learn from them, and eventually, if you do have a dream to fly, like I said to people, you can get in touch with us and we will help you and elevate you to reach you to the sky.